Hello. Just watching a video, so I thought I would do a commentary on it and look at it. It's to do with people that want their town back from reform. I wonder why. Because maybe reform haven't got a clue what they're doing. But yeah, let's have a look and see what it says and how it goes.
An asylum seeker whose arrest sparked UK-wide anti-immigration protests has been found guilty of sexually assaulting a woman and...
Yeah, I think anyone who does that crime, I don't give a damn where you come from or who you are. You can be English, foreign, I don't really care. If you do anything like that whatsoever, then yeah, you should have the full force of the law on you and you should be thrown in jail. Yeah, I do agree with that. I know you keyboard warriors would be eager to write something about that to me.
And a 14-year-old girl in Epping.
There's only one
Yes, I use the word invasion. It is an invasion, as these young men...
There he is, head grifter, absolute froghead.
...and illegally break into our country.
Last summer, the Bell Hotel in Epping became the epicentre of Britain's immigration debate. Thousands of people protested outside the hotel, which the government uses to house asylum seekers, following the arrest of one of its residents.
Adushka Batu was arrested. The girl told the police he'd touched her thigh and asked her to make babies with him at the Bell Hotel in...
Yeah, no, stuff like that's totally unacceptable. I don't care who it is. Disgusting.
Epping.
Reform UK MPs supported the protesters even after violence broke out.
The people protesting outside the Bell Hotel and at 30 migrant hotels on Saturday around the country, they were doing it because over 3/4 of those that come are young, undocumented males who come from cultures that are entirely different from ours.
To be fair, like, yeah, there are people that will come over here and they will do stuff like that. They will commit crime. But you've also got British people here that commit crimes the exact same as well. So we're not squeaky clean, if that's what other people are trying to say. You know? Every nation has their bad eggs, trust me.
Who are very unlikely to assimilate.
As the number of protests swelled, Farage vowed mass deportations of illegal immigrants if his party wins the next general election. And in the days before this month's local elections, the party announced a new policy.
In order to deport all illegal migrants in Britain, we're going to need to detain tens of thousands at a time. So
how are they going to detain tens of thousands at a time? They're going to have an ICE-style, like, police around the UK. So you're happy with people just being snatched off the street, are you? Because of the colour of their skin? Don't you think that is just a little bit racist? Like, don't you think that? Fucking ridiculous. So you want Trump-style politics in the UK, even though Trump-style politics in the United States is going absolutely horrible. And they're going to privatise our NHS as well. So you want to pay for your NHS then, do you? You pay hundreds, if not thousands, for an operation that the NHS would normally do for nothing, because you paid for it anyway through your taxes at a cheaper rate.
Here's our promise. A Reform government will not put any migrant detention centres in any constituency with a Reform MP.
2 in 5.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure that's an election. I'm pretty sure that's illegal to threaten people. If you don't vote Reform, we're gonna do this. That's very threatening.
5 voters in Epping cast their ballot for Reform, and the party gained 11 seats on the district council, while Reform won control of the upper tier Essex County Council. Over the following weekend, the St George's Cross and Union Jack reappeared on lampposts. Reform voters we stopped didn't want to speak on camera, so we asked the other 60% of Epping's voters.
What did you make of the result in Essex?
In Essex, generally, I didn't like the idea of Reform coming in, and it looks like they've taken over Essex. I'm normally a Labour person, but I would rather have the Conservatives saying more of a steadying thing. I find Reform fascist, if I must say so. and it's not the kind of thing that you want. They're very populist. They find the triggers for people's concerns.
That's the thing. They're populous. They're not experienced at doing this. They're populous. So you're gonna. It's like you're gonna vote in these people because they're popular, and they're not gonna do their job properly because they haven't got a clue what to do. How do you think they're gonna run your country? How do you think they're gonna run this country? They're not. You know, they're not.
And that's what they're playing on.
It's worth saying that Reform did slightly less well in Epping than they did in the rest of Essex. They got about a third of the vote. Obviously, that's quite an appreciable amount. I think there are a number of reasons why people are voting for Reform. There is definitely a hard core of pretty far-right people who are lending them a lot of their support. But I think there's a much bigger group of people who don't sign up to those views, but do feel a bit left behind by the way the world is changing, makes them feel nervous. I sympathise with that feeling myself.
Why do you think they've done so well in Essex, and including with some voters here in Epping?
Oh, because they're dissatisfied with the normal parties that are here. And they just know what triggers people off. Everybody's dissatisfied with this government and the previous one. And they're just populist. They're just playing on everything that's going on.
Do you think that...
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, you got the different sets of voters in that at the moment who are voting for Reform. So you have the far right voters, the racist ones, the ones voting for Reform. You got voters who are angry at certain political parties that just want a change, and then you got other ones that are angry with Labour and the Conservatives, who are actually giving them a warning and waking them up with another anger vote. So at the moment, a lot of them can be won back. Reform are not as far ahead as what people think they are. Labour still have the majority compared to them. They just happen to have more people in certain areas, that's all.
That what happened with the Bell Hotel last summer had a lot to do with why Reform have done so well here?
It hasn't helped in sort of from my perspective. I do think a lot of the protests around the Bell, personally, I've not lived in Epping for a huge amount of time. I moved here back in August. But from my perspective, I think a lot of the trouble and the sort of the protests around that were people coming from outside Epping and people who probably had some more of an agenda to sort of try and stoke up tensions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, troublemakers coming in from different areas, which is what's going to happen with this march today in the Unite the Fascists march. You know, that's what's going to happen. They're going to come in from different areas. You got the FA Cup final today as well, so you're going to have a whole bunch of fans coming down from Manchester to join in as well, and they're not going to be there to have a good time. They're there to have a fight and cause trouble.
I don't live far from the hotel itself, and on the first day when we had the riots on that Thursday, I thought it was absolutely disgusting, and it was just people who were coming from outside the area. Yeah. They were being bussed in, and that's what they do. They just play on people's fears. That's all they do. And also UKIP with this Tarabico or what his name is. And that's all they do. And then
that guy
now,
UKIP's
this last Sunday, Nazi. You had a demonstration with the raise the flag, and I didn't like that either. And
no, I didn't have a problem with raising flags if it's for a good reason. But when you're doing it to stoke up like fear, racism, and putting absolute just for fascism, then no, I don't stand for that whatsoever. I don't agree with that. And you know what? I'd rather they just took them down if that's what it's for. I'm proud of my country. I like my country, but I'm not having that. Not at all. Your grandparents and great-grandparents fought in a war against fascism to stop fascism entering this country, and you're now having them spin in their graves because of what you're doing.
And these also were people from outside this town.
I'm actually quite a patriotic person. I'm not ashamed of the British flag or the English flag. I think it's appropriate to fly it in all sorts of circumstances.
Yeah.
To promote positive things about our
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
My concern about these flags is that they're not being flown to promote positive
No.
things about the country.
They're
They're being flown to
flown for
intimidate
hate.
people.
Yes,
They're being flown to
that's the
intimidate the
word.
people in the asylum hotel, and they're also now increasingly being flown to intimidate anyone in Epping who doesn't agree with the opinions of the protesters. And it's worth noting, I mean, there are plenty of people in Epping who support the flags going up, but a lot of people putting them up, including at the weekend, came from across the country to do it. We are like a bit of a flashpoint here, and we're having people imposing themselves on us. And I think that's the behaviour of bullies, and I really, really resent it.
Yeah.
I think
agree.
we've had a lot going on in the Bell Hotel, and people have been very upset. Local people, we had thugs coming into the area causing trouble. We don't like that. It's a lovely little place to live, beautiful, very happy here, and we don't like that. And I think people just think Reform are going to sort everything out.
Reform have promised
not.
that they would close asylum hotels to build detention centres, and they would place them in constituencies with Green MPs. What do you make of that?
I think that kind of negative politics is dark, and down that way bad things lie. Calling things detention centres for people who are not detained. You were allowed to come here and seek asylum. That is not an illegal
Yeah.
thing to do.
It's legal. They're not illegal, it's legal.
redolent of some of the darkest moments in our planet's history, and I really don't want to see us go down there.
It's the reason why we went to war with the Nazi Germans, you know, for that very reason, for them doing shit like this, concentration camps, etc. And this is the road that we're going down now.
Anyone you see in current British politics that gives you hope?
At this moment, no, I don't. It's been damaged too long. It's been damaged for 14 years previous, and now because people can't see, they want everything done now. After 14 years of damage, they want it all done tomorrow.
I think the Labour government has done a lot of good things at a sort of policy level, but they've been absolutely terrible at handling this situation.
No, they've been terrible at communications, to tell you the truth. Yeah, no, Labour have let down a lot of people, trans people, people with disabilities, you know, as well as some other various little groups and that as well. But there are things that they've done good as well that they need to communicate more on.
They haven't healed this issue, and they've, in many cases, stoked the.
They have slowed the boats down, though. They have done that. There are some getting through, but not as many as before.
The negative opinions that some people have, and they kind of walk this tightrope of saying really aggressive rhetoric and then not actually doing that much stuff, which displeases everyone. I hate the rhetoric, and the Reform voters are frustrated because they're not actually doing the really hard right-wing stuff that they want. So,
well, Labour Party are not a right-wing party, they're a centre-left party. Them doing right-wing stuff is totally out of character for Labour, and which is why they're failing now. They should be doing Labour things at core Labour values, but they're not. They're trying to be something they're not, which is why they're failing.
I think that strategy has run out of road.
You know? Yeah, no, totally. That was from Politics Joe as well. So yeah, go follow that channel. That was a good video, that. And yeah, we're gonna leave it as that. But yeah, no, it is what it is. You know, it is what it is. Cool. Peace.